Hey Rangers, this is episode 4 of Supergirl, and hopefully this comes out on time or a few days later. I'm so behind. So today we're going to be talking about the top 10 moments of the series, and let's begin. Number 10, I'm kind of combining two. You saw the throwback to season 1 as well as a creepy follower, and this is when a character of the name of Thomas Corville is complaining about his life. He's going like, what, he's complaining about someone else's life, and then he sees Kara actually save the day as Supergirl on the very first time that she actually became Supergirl. And this kind of leads into the second scene with Sam and Ruby, where Ruby is playing like soccer or football in the UK, and suddenly out of nowhere this person comes up to Sam and says, hey, you're special, Ruby's special, bring it to this entire meeting, and it kind of really a little bit like it's a cult. Basically it's a very weird cult that they're doing, but they're saying like, bring here, and Sam's a little bit like, no. Number 9 is Raoul, and I think I said that name right. This is the basic god of Krypton. This is when Supergirl finds out that there is a whole cult dedicated to her, but they're using the teachers of Raoul. One thing is though, everything's being kind of twisted, and this kind of like shocks Kara because everyone's praying towards her, and this to her is like, oh, this is a little bit weird. Number 8 is people putting themselves in danger. If you want to be accepted by this cult, if you want to be welcomed in, you have to turn around and be saved by Supergirl. So this one guy decides, hey, guess what? I'm going to set a building on fire. And then as the building is collapsing, he is saved, and everyone's like, oh my god, you've been like accepted, and this kind of freaks Supergirl out. Number 7 is Thomas figuring out who Supergirl is, and it's kind of like, you think, hang on a minute guys, if one person can figure this out, why could nobody else? It's just really weird. And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, look at the glasses, they send out a little hypnotic field or something that kind of like cloaks this, but Thomas actually figures out Supergirl by looking into her eyes, and he says, look, when you look into the eyes of God, you don't forget this, and boom, there we go, we have that one. He does say that he is not going to tell anyone about this, and I do actually think that this is going to be a main thing, or later on in the episode, like near the end of the season, before she's outed as Supergirl, maybe someone will blackmail him, maybe something will happen, who knows. But we've got a few things happening later on in the season. Number 6 is kind of the whole theme of the episode, where it's all about religion. And this to me is kind of a thing where it's talking about the good things as well as the bad things in religion, and there's just a ton of it, but we also see loads of different religions kind of thrown in. Number 5 is the reactor going critical. Earlier on in the episode, we see Thomas kind of saying to this this reactor that he's going to do stuff, Supergirl is going to save him, etc, etc. And at first I kind of thought this might have been a bad guy. It looks very kind of like Brainiac way, but it just feels like this could have been the main bad guy, where no one knows about it. But the reactor is starting to go critical. Thomas brings it towards this big dome stadium and starts talking about it, saying like, Supergirl is going to save us. Everyone is kind of blindly following him, and this is kind of a bit, oh, okay, I can see what you're doing. And his major plan is to get everybody in this dome, I think it's like 1,500 people, to actually become followers of Supergirl, to actually make it a huge, like a bigger cult, or in his eyes, a bigger religion. As Supergirl goes towards the reactor, she finds out it's got kryptonite because it's in the soil, and this kind of like weakens her. She has to show, hey, I'm not actually a god, I am pretty much like everybody else because, I bleed where gods don't. And this is when everyone like scatters. Thomas is like, what? I trusted you. But then he kind of sees what she does. To get rid of this reactor, she actually sends it underground, and you kind of think it's really far, like, oh, she's sending it to the Earth's crust, but it's as far as down as she can do. And it takes a lot of her power because she uses her laser eyes. Oh, it's actually a really cool looking scene. Number 4 is Alex and Kara's talk. Now, we've seen previously in the other episodes that Maggie doesn't want kids, and she's very against it because she doesn't see her life. She sees her life just with Alex. And this is when Alex breaks down to Kara after she's watched Ruby perform on stage singing. And Alex just breaks down. She says, I want to be a mom. I want to do all this sort of stuff. I want to do everything. And seeing Ruby has kind of pushed this. And you know that this is going to break Maggie and Alex to a lot later on in the episode or in the season when she turns around and goes, hey, I want kids. And Maggie's like, I don't want kids. And then it's a whole argument. I see a really big rift forming between those two. Number 3 is the religion-based ending. And this is what I mentioned previously. We all know this episode is all about religion. But then you see Kara's religion where she's like reciting the text of Raoul with her holographic mother. We see John and his father kind of praying as well, like we saw previously in the other episode, well, with John's dad actually like talking to his gods. And then we see Alex get in bed with Maggie, and Maggie kind of curl up and hug her, but then Alex kind of breaks down, starting crying because she realizes that she needs to have a family, etc., etc. Now, number 2 was very interesting because I generally thought the episode was going to end with a religion-based thing, and that's it, you know, everybody like relaxes or everybody prays, etc., etc. But this is when Sam starts getting ready for bed. She's just run a bath, and she looks in the mirror, and suddenly symbols appear all over her, and a hooded figure just comes out of nowhere saying that she will reign, which is again a reference to who she is from previous episodes, to who she is in the comics, the world destroyer, etc., etc. But one thing I noticed was the symbols all over Sam's body. They resemble the ones from the Flash. So my kind of thoughts is that maybe Barry is able to write down the symbols of Kryptonian, or from that it's been kind of like thrown about, because obviously maybe the Speed Force is everywhere, not just around one universe. So that was really kind of interesting to see. And number 1, oh my god, I thought, wow. So we go back 22 hours within the episode where Kara has dropped down the reactor and it has just blown up. But it also sends, I think, a pulse or energy, the amount of energy that the ship needed to power up, because we see it waking up. And then at the very end, we just see one of the staff members just going, really, like, there's no emotion in that. But I know what people are going to say, that it's going to be Mon-El or something like that. But it was really cool to see. And that's it. There are my top 10 what moments in the show. So yeah, I've got to admit, this one wasn't bad. The episode seemed at first to be very kind of religious. I was thinking, oh, we know we don't like those sorts of episodes at times because they can bring up a whole new batch of whatever to people, or it can just be just a touchy subject. Now, one thing is, this episode ended really, really well, and it kind of made me want to watch more, and I want to know more about what's happening, what everything is going on, so I'm really excited again for next week. So Rangers, what did you think about this? Did you like Supergirl's episode? What are your thoughts on shows that have like a religious base? Are you okay with it? Are you not? Let me know down below in the comments, and if you like this video, like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. If you want to help the channel on Patreon, link will be in the description below. And as always, Rangers, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a bit.